What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Salud Cabrones podcast. I am Danny Villegas.
I am Javier Ledesma.
Why are you laughing already?
I'm already popping.
And before we get started, we ask you to like, comment, subscribe, and share the Salud Cabrones podcast on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and YouTube. And follow us on all social media platforms at Salud Cabrones Podcast.
We got a couple things to cover before we get into
Yes.
the show. By the time this show airs. Well, first off, let's talk about our sponsors.
Yes.
Then we'll get into that.
And we want to give a special thanks to our sponsors, the Law Office of Christopher Hoff, Taco Villa, and Wrestling Tees, all the way from Canada, all the way from Canada. So thanks to all of them wonderful gentlemen.
By the time this airs, Danny, we would have announced a big thing that we're doing by the time that this episode airs.
Yes,
it would be knowledge to everyone.
Okay, so
let's talk
I'll
about
say it now. The Salud Cabrones podcast on Thursday, June 26th, will be hosting a stand-up comedy show at Altar Brewing in Downers Grove for Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, where half the proceeds will go to an organization that deal with men's mental health and suicide prevention. We will be having 4 local comedians. It'll be $25 entry, and like I said, half the proceeds will go there.
Not to mention, we'll have one of the boys as the host.
One of the boys, the host of that event, is Mr. Germ T. Ripper, and we will be having comedians Oscar Calvar, I hope I said his last name right, Miss Mary Lee, Mr. Joe Fernandez, and headliner Ruben Ramirez.
Joe Fernandez is brilliant.
Yeah,
Dude, it's nuts.
Yeah,
so funny.
We are putting together a show, not just hosting, but just a lot of stuff that kind of went through from a small conversation to, holy shit, we're running a show.
It literally started with the conversation me and Javier had. It was on a Wednesday, I believe. And I told Javier, man, I wish I would have thought about this sooner. I wish if we thought about it sooner, I was thinking about do some kind of event for men's mental health awareness. And Javier goes, fuck it, we can do it. Hold on. And then he called his work. He works for Alta Brewing. He goes, hey, I just got us a free building, so let's fucking do this. And 2 days later, we had the show put together. So there you go, man. So June 26th, it's a Thursday night, man. Please come out, support. It's for a great fucking cause, man. Please come out and support. Have some laughs. Have some brews with your boys here, man. And just let's have some fun.
And Danny, where is that again?
This is Thursday, June 26th.
Where?
At Altar Brewing in Downers Grove.
Okay, cool.
Yes, and if you hear, we got that wasn't my voice or Javier's voice. We have a special guest with us today.
My bad.
No, it's good.
Nice segue.
I'm doing run-ins on sponsorship.
That's a good segue because we were going right into our guest, man. We got one of the wrestling brothers with us today, man. Very happy he's here. He's back home for a few weeks, all the way from Thailand.
Oh, I'm visiting America for a few weeks. I go back home in August.
Oh,
He's a transplant.
my apologies.
I'm an immigrant now.
My apologies. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the Mr., the wonderful, the fabulous Mikey Wild with us in the building.
That's 3 people clapping, including my mom. Nice.
Side note, that is a first, Danny.
What's that?
Yeah, his Uber was his mom.
Yeah. yes. Mrs. Wild is joining us in the back of the room here watching the show. So, yes.
Trying to get a vehicle since I've been back in the U.S. Because I don't have a bank account. I don't have a credit card. I don't have anything. All that I am is over 25 and with money. And I can't get a car. So, Mommy, can you drop me off at the Salud?
No, but, hey, man, thank you for joining us. Dude, it's so great to fucking see you, man. It's been a long time. It's so great to see you.
It's been a while. It's, I think yesterday had been 2 years since I moved to Thailand.
Okay.
Chiang Mai, Thailand, yeah.
And what was the reasoning for, dude? I remember one day out of the blue, you just sent a fucking Facebook post. All right, guys,
see ya.
Moving to Thailand. Hey, what the fuck? I'm like, is this a rib? No.
I vividly remember me and Danny going, hey, dude, did you see social media? It's like, did you know about it? Because I know you were part of breakfast club and shit.
He's just hating because he wasn't invited to the fucking breakfast.
Maybe.
Too busy with his breakfast at Tiffany's Club.
Look, Tiffany's has this amazing thing there. But I remember just seeing oh shit, he's fucking leaving. Is this for real?
Uh-huh. Yeah, so I just kind of felt like I had been spinning my wheels in the position that I was in, where I was working what I was doing with life. And of course, like I had for the past 36 years. Like I really did nothing about it. But my pain had gotten so bad that I was taking, and nobody knows this. My mom knows this, probably not to the extent, but very few people do. I wasn't addicted to painkillers, but I had to take a lot just to kind of get out of bed. So there were days where I could be going through 15, 20 Norcos a day.
Is this a result of pro wrestling?
I think that's unfair because it's a result of neglect of personal health.
Okay.
And actually, Danny has written up stuff for me, which I then have used since being in Thailand, which has really helped me out. But I ended up having 2 strokes in rather quick succession. So I was having slurred speech and stuff like that. And that was tough because I was working at the high school, a special education assistant at the high school. Legalities, I couldn't be a teacher, but working in that department. Then I was coaching football, coaching basketball, coaching the girls' football team, and then trying to do anything outside of that I could. And I was just neglecting my health. I stopped wrestling, really. Never retired. It was just stopped wrestling. And then those strokes hit. And it was like, okay, I got to take care of myself. And so I went to the doctor, went to the neurologist. We kind of saw what was going on there. And it's like, hey, if you can manage your blood pressure, everything will be fine. And then I think it was a little bit in late December of, I want to say 2022. I was trying to tell a story about my nephews, and I couldn't remember their names. And I was like, oh, this is no good.
Yeah.
And then I decided, I started keeping track of my blood pressure. And it was like, it didn't matter what I was eating, how much I was exercising. I came to realize none of that mattered. It was all the stress. Mm-hmm. It was, and it sucks because I've been working with kids since I was 16 years old. Shout out to Miss Tilke.
Miss Tilke. Shout out.
Miss Tilke was my childcare teacher. And then,
all right, real quick, just careful kicking the table because you're moving the camera.
Oh, my bad.
No, you're good. You're good.
Get like a Michael J. Fox thing going on here. That's not nice. No. Hey, Michael, if you'd like to do Family Ties together, Family Ties 2, Netflix is just fucking handing out contracts left and right. They cancel all the good stuff, then they give me some nonsense I've never heard of.
You're right about that.
I'm sorry, where was I?
You said how you had forgot your nephew's names.
Yeah. And
shout out Mrs.
Shout out to Miss Tilke.
Yes.
Because I ended up, she was when I was 16, I started taking childcare. I was the only guy in childcare, of course, taking care of little kids, the little sequoids. And then when I went back to that school as a teacher, she was getting ready to retire, so I was still able to do some stuff with her for childcare. So shout out to Miss Tilke. She's amazing. But working with the kids and stuff, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. But it wasn't anything that was stressing me out as much as it was me burning the candle at both ends. And it came down to finances, because what I believed at the time, what I think most believe now, is more stuff, more things that'll make me happier. But once I moved, when I was getting ready to move to Thailand, I sold almost everything. I just kept some stuff. And man, the less stuff I have now, the better I feel. I have stuff stolen in Thailand, and my mindset is maybe they needed it more than me. Whatever.
And what was it? What was it about Thailand? What made you say, you know what, I'm going to go to Thailand? Out of all places in the world, Thailand.
Well, because I knew next to nothing about Thailand. All I really knew was that I knew nothing. And that was the biggest thing for me, because because of wrestling, you guys know wrestling, being in movies, TV stuff, doing backscene stuff. We have connections all over the world. So I didn't know anyone in Thailand, so I thought it'd be most advantageous to go somewhere where I didn't have a safety net. So it was figure it out or you die. And this is going to get real serious in a moment, and we'll branch off there for a moment. But I had a 2-year plan. No one knew the 2-year plan until I came back, and I let them know. And it's going to be a continued 2-year plan. And that is, I was going to go to Thailand for 2 years. If my health was better, I would come back, set things up here, go back to Thailand, and then run my businesses. If my health wasn't good enough to come back, I was going to kill myself. And that was it. And I don't know how much you guys have known, but I've been through that before. I've attempted these before.
I remember you making posts about it,
yeah,
man. And I reached out to you a couple times when I saw those posts, man, just to make sure you're all right.
Yeah, always. And I greatly appreciate that. I think people are greatly afraid to talk about mental health, men's mental health especially. And this is now a shout out to Marty DeRosa, Wrestling with Depression. If you guys have ever, no longer a podcast, but that he had a Wrestling with Depression, had like Chomp on, Kevin Steen on, a lot of guys that can tell you their experiences and their stories. So hopefully, I no longer feel like I want to die at all. Like, I love being alive. I'm really excited now to be alive. Fuck it, Mom, I'm waking up. Oh, sorry.
You can swear, yeah, absolutely.
I'm so used to being in front of kids now that although my kids will know full well, there's a huge difference. If I go, what are you doing? They know, oh, he's playing. If I go, what the fuck are you doing? They go, okay, sorry. But yeah, so that was the plan. And I jokingly said that's going to be the continued 2-year plan. It's not. we're sailing strong now. It's just a matter of how well is my health? I don't know, because I'm not going to go see doctors. I'm going to continue to get unbelievably high, which is hilarious to hear the straight edge kid talk about.
I was just about to say that.
I was gonna say, when did that happen?
Yeah,
Thailand's brought us some new things to the table there.
Dude, I will happily tell this story. So my sister, Mom, how old was? I don't want to put her shit on blast, so I'll say she was young when she started smoking. And she dropped out of school and she was maybe 16. My mom smoked a bunch edible stuff when she was younger. But
Mama was a Rolling Stone, huh?
You should hear about some of the stories Mom has about shootouts and dead bodies and whew.
There you go.
I've even been part of some of them. All right. Get me back on track, guys.
You're talking about your sister.
Yes, sister. Thanks. Swallow that ice. Yeah.
You right there, bud?
That's why I know I can't swing both ways, man. This reflex is a problem. But in fairness, boys, I've seen myself catch fizz when it overflows from a can. And I'm just saying, I feel like I'd be pretty popular in prison. That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
That's
Mom, watch your language. Am I shaking the... I'll keep on this.
Fidgety over there.
So... when I went over to Thailand for the first year and a half, man, I didn't touch anything. But over in Thailand, opiates are illegal, and methamphetamines are illegal. And I was on Adderall, I was on Wellbutrin, and I was on Norcos for bipolar disorder, my back issues, and even now and again I have muscle relaxers.
so. What made the straight edge kid start smoking?
Well, after a year and a half of me just grinding and working, because when I first got there, I did intend to work on my health, but you guys know you get stuck in a routine of work.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like trying to build myself in the community, but I, again, neglected my health. I didn't have that golden mean, you know what I mean? So after about a year and a half, I talked to my sister and she was like, what's the harm in trying one? And I was like, you know what? There's no harm in trying one. Why not? So it's legal in Thailand, like very legal in Thailand. Excuse me, sorry. The place I go, like I get most for a gram, it's about 90 cents. For my high end, it's $6 for 55% THC. So, yeah. So when she was like, "Why don't you try it?" Like it's not illegal, so I didn't have to worry about it because I was very conscious to not do anything that would get me kicked out of the country. I'm sorry.
She said it wasn't illegal. Why not? Or she wanted you to try it.
Yeah, it wasn't illegal. Thank you, Danny. Sorry, that's going to happen a few times. I apologize.
It's all right.
So yeah, she was like, why not just give it a try? And I was like, yeah, why not? I talked to the lady and she later told me, she's like, oh, I knew what was going to happen, but of course they did it. She's like, put it in a quarter. It was like, I want to say 35 milligram. She's like, do them in quarters, take one. And after about 20, 25 minutes, if you don't feel anything, go ahead and take another.
Oh, shit.
You guys know full well that 20, 25 minutes ain't it. So I did. I took another one because I wasn't really feeling anything. And I knew I was also very conscientious about like making sure anytime I took it, I was already in the house. I was relaxing, like I'm ready to go to bed. But I took these things and I had gotten out of school early and forgot. Like it was only 3:00 in the afternoon. And so I started brushing my teeth to get ready for bed. I go and lay down. And I'm like, what time is it? I go, 3:30. Why am I sleeping? So I get up and I'm like, oh, it's time to go to bed. I better brush my teeth. like 6 times. Next thing I know, it's like 4:30, and I was like, it's time for dinner before I go to bed.
His teeth are bleeding from all the brushing.
So we have over there, we have something called Grab, which is like Uber here, but way less expensive. Like I usually jump on the back of a motorbike somewhere, and that average costs like 35 cents.
So it's a motorbike? This is what this is that you're riding on?
Yeah, if I jump on the back. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a lot cheaper.
Is that what your mom drove you in here today?
She did. She did. It still has training wheels on it. It's embarrassing. But I had ordered some Grab, some Thai food. And now, at that time, this was in October of 2024. So this was rather recent, within the last year. But I had the Thai food ordered. I'm like, okay, cool. This was my first experience of being high. So I didn't realize, like, I had an internal monologue, like life was happening around me, but it was like I was narrating the story. I'm just like, oh, there's a caterpillar. Ooh, what's that? Ooh, that. Meanwhile, I'm walking. I'm like, where am I going? And I start freaking out. Dude, I start freaking out because my food's arriving, and I'm like, oh no, I don't know how to speak Thai. I was like, I'm in so much trouble. Oh God. I go to get my food, and here I'm like, sawadee krap, kapun ma krap, ooh, kapun. And I'm like, oh shit, do I know how to speak Thai? Oh, that's so cool.
You guys remember that movie Bedazzled? but
Well, hold on. Who was in it?
Dude that played what is this? My God, from the Mummy.
I'm thinking the same thing. Brendan Fraser.
Yes.
Yes.
Remember that
I did
scene
not
where
see
he's got those multiple lives because the devil puts him in different
Okay.
and so he's like a drug lord, and so he's a Latin drug lord, and someone's talking to him in Spanish, and he's like, oh man, I don't know how to speak Spanish, and he starts talking, and then he's like, oh, sí puedo hablar español. That's literally what I just had in my mind of him go like, I can't speak Thai. Oh shit, I can.
Dude, that was exactly what happened. And now, granted, my Thai is not great, but it was almost like it tapped into something of like, hey man, you know more than you do. So that's when it was like I started using it as creatively, like when I'm writing, drawing, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just as a creative outlet. Like those aren't things that I was working on. It's just things I do to creatively get thoughts out of your brain.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and so since then, I was just doing the edibles. But man, the sugar and the shit that comes with the edibles, and end up just I'm getting fatter from getting high. So then,
Guys, it's not even the food that I eat after. It's literally just the edibles.
the edibles are the problem. All the Thai food runs right through me. It's these fucking brownies.
Dude, it's funny because when you a few weeks ago you posted a picture when you were out here and you had a joint in your mouth and you were smoking.
Yeah.
Was Mikey smoking a joint? What the fuck?
It's like, and I don't know if
A
you
lot
saw
of shit that's going on in Thailand that we don't know about.
right. And I don't know if you saw the recent post with like Marche, and I'm like, oh, I got a black and mild for it. I was like,
Yeah.
Yes, yes, I saw that. I'm like,
that
okay.
sounds so out of place because like the last time I was here, I didn't smoke, especially when I was smoking black and milds. But cigarettes are gross. The filter on them just disgusts me.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not addicted. It's one of those things where I have a very high tolerance for everything, whether it be pain, whether it be medication. So I just smoke as a to chill.
So at this point in time, what's the time frame? How long have you been in Thailand during this first getting high experience?
It was about a year and a half.
A year and a half?
Yeah.
So backtrack a little bit. First week in Thailand. Walk us through being an American in a foreign country, not knowing anything. You mentioned not having a safety net.
Yeah, no, I didn't know anyone.
You didn't know
there.
anyone there. So what was that first week?
Hard to say, man, because when I first got there, there was it's like being a baby, right? And you see all these brand new things, and you're trying to take everything in. It was sensory overload for sure. It was a culture shock, and it was also a huge adjustment period. But it was the adjustment period is I'm so thankful I've been able to make an adjustment because there's a lot of farang or the foreigners.
This guy.
I was gonna say, what is farang?
In Thai it's farang.
What the hell is he talking about?
He says it all crisp. Too,
cool.
Go back to your country.
These
These Latinos will understand. No, we don't. We don't fucking speak Klingon, asshole.
You guys roll your shit sometimes, right? It all sounds like some sort of Spanish.
I even looked at you like, is that a Spanish word? I don't know. Farang. It's a farang.
Yeah, foreigners are old people, or like not old people, usually white people. Not so much, even Latinos, not really. Like, it used to mean like all foreigners. Now, farang literally just means the whites.
So you were classified as that when you first got there.
I'm still very much classified as it.
At what point in time did you feel like you finally belonged in that country?
Day one.
Day one, really? Wow, okay.
I
mean, you're an outgoing guy, so
I was gonna say, I feel like you've been in a room with me before.
Yeah,
like wherever I go, I'll fit in, and if I don't fit in, I'm gonna make an area for me to fit in, and then other people can come fit in with me.
I'll tell you, you walk into a room with a lot of confidence. You do.
Thank you.
You do. It's a good thing.
And it's not even
It's a
like
good thing.
about having confidence. It's about like I care so little about everything.
Yeah.
But I also care so much about everything. You know what I mean?
And that's, I'm glad you said that. Where do you think that comes from? Because I've known you for so long. Since I started wrestling, I've been wrestling 17 years. That's how long I've known you, and you've always just had that mentality. Like, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit what I say. I don't give a shit whoever. Like, I'm just, I'm gonna shoot from the hip. Like,
and unfortunately, I have had when you're younger, and I've had the flare ups with you, like, which is hilarious. Like, I got on Danny, like I was yelling at him after a match because he wasn't hitting me in the face hard enough. He's like, bro, I'm sorry, I'm hitting you.
Sorry, I'm protecting you, bro. Shit.
Beat my ass, goddammit.
And it took me like maybe 2 minutes because Coach Freedom pulled me aside and was like,
oh, we've heard that story.
He's like, what the fuck was that? And he starts telling me, I was like, yeah, that's my fault. And he's like, whose else fault would it be? And I was like, and then I laughed it off. I was like, I'm so sorry. I'll go apologize. Danny don't deserve that. But that comes from like, I don't want to blame mental health or stuff, but when you struggle with things like the flare-ups come out a little bit when I'm sometimes creatively, sometimes like that. But it's in terms of like no filter. I wouldn't say I've always been pretty conscientious about like not wanting to hurt people's feelings.
I can tell you this much: somebody meeting you for the first time and not knowing you, and mind you, I will count myself in this part of like the conversation right here because I remember meeting you and I go, I thought I was a lot. You know what I mean?
Oh, you are. You are.
And then I met Mikey and I go, no, that's a lot.
you know that you can walk in the room and be like, all right, people will leave me alone because he's a fucking...
and it took me a little while to like go, okay, that's how he is and he's cool and blah, blah, blah. And it took me a little while. And I think a lot of it happened to do with tattoos and music and stuff like that we would talk about. And because if it was just like me and you, I don't know if we would be friends. Because at that time, and I'm fucking honest, you know,
no,
like the idea is that you were so much when I first met you were like in your face kind of scenario.
If I met that kid now, I wouldn't hit him right, but I would walk away because I'd be like, he seems like a good dude, but I can't handle him right now. Like
it took me a while to kind of get used to it.
I appreciate you guys staying the course. Yeah, man. That comes from my mom. I was raised by a single mom. Well,
Me for everything.
but I was raised by mom. So she and then working with children, I'm always very conscientious about not wanting to hurt people's feelings. But sometimes if I do say something that does, like I do want to apologize. But like when it comes to like making jokes and stuff like that, if the intent is not to harm, then no, it's never been a big deal to me. Like I shared the scripts with you.
Yeah.
Me and Scott Beatty wrote a couple webisodes for Threat Level Wrestling. Like that we still want to get going. As a matter of fact,
So many scripts he sent me. I'm like, bro, what the fuck?
yeah. And he's like, I love it, but you got to take out this line. And I was like, no. And he's like, no.
Give me an example. What line needs to be taken out?
Oh man, what was it? I can't even fucking remember. I just remember.
I said that because we were talking about how we're going to restart Threat Level Wrestling. Like, it used to be the biggest thing since this side of the truck wash, you know? And so we're saying, Blockbuster closes early tonight. Come on over to the show. And we talked about, like, our past roster. What are they doing now? Like, I think we said Willie went to the priesthood. And then I said one of the wrestlers had narcolepsy during the gold rush. And someone says, what does that mean? I go, he was sleeping with minors. And he's like, bro, you gotta take that joke. I was like, I'm not. So know that my webisode has not been picked up yet. if anyone's interested,
Netflix hasn't called yet, huh?
nothing.
I mean, they pick up everything. So
That's what I heard. Someone said that earlier. And like I have so many ideas. Like
It's
me,
funny because I get it. I know who we're talking about.
imagine me just riding around on a bicycle, solving crimes, the pedal files. Tell me that's not brilliant. Right? Tell me this 38-year-old mustache man on a pedal solving crimes, not kind of cool.
So let's talk about your comedy because
I feel like you didn't want to say it was cool, but it was cool.
just called segue. You obviously, as people are listening to this episode, they can kind of understand why we mentioned that you're a lot, that you're like all over. There's the energy level today in this episode is obviously higher than the ones we've aired in the past.
Which is so
few
funny because I
weeks.
feel like I'm pretty subdued right now.
I'm not gonna lie, a little bit.
I took about, 5-6 edibles before I
Oh, okay, so you're edible not right now. Gotcha.
His blood sugar's through the roof right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I was. We're gonna have to worry about diabetes here in a minute.
But I've always been a huge fan of a lot of stuff you post up. So some of the earlier videos with your cousin, those were my favorites.
My brother.
Hey, Mike.
Brother. Mac.
Oh, hey, Mike.
These were always my favorite, and anybody can go online and look those things up because they're freaking gold.
And there will be more soon.
I'll tell you because
looking to make
today, I'm getting ready to come here, and my wife's like, "Oh, who are you guys interviewing today?" I go, "Mikey." She's like, "Mikey who?" I'm Mikey Wild. She's like, "Who's that?" I'm like, "Oh, you don't think you ever met him? We know him from wrestling." Oh, okay. And I said, "No, I don't think I've ever met him." And I showed her I went on your Facebook. I'm like, "Yeah, that's him." She said, "No, I never met him before." I'm like, "This guy's fucking hilarious." And then all of a sudden I started scrolling through, and all of a sudden I just hit a fucking book of all the Mike videos. So I'm watching him with her, dude, and we're just fucking rolling. And
Well, thank you.
How was that
much.
character born?
I can tell you exactly how it was born. I'm a huge fan of Zach Galifianakis.
yes.
Zach Galifianakis, before he did Live at the Purple Onion, he was doing something where he had a fake twin brother, and he kind of did the same voice, but you would never see them on screen or anything together. But Zach Galifianakis is just brilliant when it comes to delivery. His writing, something it could be so dry, and you're like in The Hangover when they say you were literally too stupid to insult. And he's like, "Thank you." Like, I love that.
Me too.
And my dry humor and sarcasm has gotten to a next level because in Thailand, sarcasm doesn't exist.
You do have Zach Galifianakis vibes.
Yeah. Thank you.
You do.
I told Tyler, I was like,
Today's episode is between two Mexicans,
Yeah.
wouldn't be the first time.
That's something your mom didn't know.
I forgot those dudes' names. But
I was recording it,
which
bro.
had
I'll tell you after the show their names.
Happy Pride Month, by the way.
Since we're in June.
But my humor comes
Yes,
from...
but
my-
happy Pride Month, by the way. I do have a brother who's part of the LGBT community.
Lovely.
Yes, my brother Gabe, and yes.
I very much consider myself part of the LGBTQ community because I know you talked about ladyboys earlier, but yes, I've been with 2 ladyboys in Thailand, and they're absolutely lovely. Shout out to Emmy, and I don't know, but she's lovely too.
Yeah.
So I do consider myself part of that community.
You got videos?
Yes, but since making porn in Thailand is illegal, I do have anonymous links. So yes. Don't ask questions if you don't want answers, Danny.
That's a first.
Yeah,
For this show, that's a first. And I know I said it as a joke, but I'm not surprised.
like I don't find guys like sexually like I think you guys are gorgeous like you're handsome guys.
Thank you.
Right?
Thank you.
But like by no
If you guys were ladyboys, you'd be so much more attractive.
but by no stretch of the imagination am I like I want to go down on Javi. But
Why the fuck not?
But I'm looking at the beer and I'm like, if this dude had a good set of tits on him, look at how far that mouth opens. Are you out of your mind? Let's go. This got off the rails quick.
Man.
Oh.
I was hoping you had some kind of sexual fantasies about me, but I guess not. Okay.
Well, I was hoping they moved from fantasies to reality, but play your cards right, cabron.
Your mom's here. Can't let her see that.
Touche.
video.
She's a trooper, brother. She's a trooper.
Mama Wild.
But my
Did you know that he'd been with
Lady boys.
lady boys? Because you do now, huh?
yeah, I told her.
Oh my God!
I
All
told
right,
my mom everything.
walk me through that conversation.
I mean, it's the same conversation that I just had with you guys. like it's not.
How's it going? So
It's not a big deal to me. So, like, especially in Thailand, like we have like three genders. Song Ying is second woman, which is ladyboys.
wow.
Yeah, so they do have classifications in Thailand.
That's crazy.
So now you know if you're ever in Thailand and you hear someone say, "You want song ying?"
Or Ying Song.
Ying song. You know what that means? It's yes or no.
Yeah, the answer is yes or no.
And
On
then
that.
I'll spit right in your mouth, and you'll know for sure. But my humor, by and large, comes from my mom.
I could tell
And-
meeting your mom when she
yeah.
first got here. I mean, that okay. I see where Mikey gets it from. There
I
you go.
offered her a
Yes.
Coca-Cola. Can you guys say what she responded?
Absolutely. She said, "I'm no Coke sucker."
This is
That is
Mama
what my mother of 61 or 60, how old are you, Mama? 63.
64.
64.
My bad.
But no, like I said, man, we go way back from wrestling, bro. When did you start wrestling, man? When was that? Were you a wrestling fan growing up as a kid? How did that all begin for you, man?
Shit, this is a long story. I'm here for it because I started wrestling in 2007. I signed with POW, and I think I was the first signee after
CCW.
after Ortiz. Ex-Con was the
Ex-Con.
first POW signee, and then I think I was right after him.
okay.
Because his was the first show I saw.
Okay.
And I talked to Jimmy directly afterwards. He was like, "Why don't you do a fantasy camp?"
His show? Ex-Con show?
Ex-Con's first match is the
When his
first.
fucking balls fell out?
I was just gonna say. I'm like,
I was
are we
on
talking
the
balls?
other side though, and I didn't get to see.
You get to see it?
No, I
So
didn't get to see the show.
Both of you guys were on the same show as fans.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I listened to that episode.
Yeah.
It was wonderful.
That's hilarious.
Me and Ex-Con have a lot of stories too.
So then you see Ex-Con with the balls hanging out, and you're like, man, I want to join wrestling,
This is
right?
what it's about. Yeah.
Okay, so then what happens from there?
An escaped prison man who continues to wear his jumpsuit, ill-advised, and he's teabagging his opponent. This is everything I've dreamt of. This is what Sexual Chocolate and Mae Young prepared me for, and I was here for it. So yeah, I talked to Jimmy afterwards, and bless his heart, man, he was right away like, "Hey, let's get you into a fantasy camp and stuff." And for me, it was like, I don't need to spend money on a fantasy camp. That sounds like a waste of time to me. How would I just sign a contract? Let's go.
So without even doing it, you just said, fuck it.
Yeah, because I knew.
Okay.
I think, Mom, you went into labor watching wrestling, right?
Yes.
Yeah, my mom was watching wrestling, went into labor. With
Who
me,
put
so-
your mom into labor?
That's a good question. I got to. Who was it? Mom, was it Carrie Von Erich? That always got her going. I'm on the bed. I just fell right out. Niagara Falls. Every time she's on the TV, man.
It just got wet. You just
Just fell right out. Like a fucking vending machine. Just fall out. So, I mean, I've grown up with wrestling my whole life. My family love wrestling, so. Yeah, I had no idea that independents were so close to my area, right? Like, I think the most I was used to is LWF. There might have been M something where they would run at the College of Lake County, like CM Punk, other dudes that were on there, Ace Steel, Cabana. But then 2007, like, it was my birthday, March 2nd, and Jimmy and Powell had a show on March 3rd. And so I was walking around like I had a fake NWO belt. I just turned 19. And I went and visited my buddy Drew at a gas station. And he had the flyers there. And I was like, oh, they have independent wrestling like this close? So I think it was like a 7-minute drive. And I went, and the next day I signed. That was it. I had my first match in August.
So then
6 months.
you come in, like we talked about, Mikey's personality, you walking into the wrestling locker room for the first time.
Oh.
What's going through your head?
Oh, I couldn't tell you. I just remember like everyone treated me great. I remember the first meeting with Jimmy. Like I was so struck about like being next to a wrestling ring, like that I wanted to be in it. And he was like, well, normally we wait till you do your outside stuff, like your chain wrestling and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And then, but he's like, but you can go ahead and go in. And I was like, no. I was like, if that's what I have to do first to earn that, like that's what I'll do.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I took everything when I came in, was just learn do the best I could, and keep learning. Of course, sometimes, being young and immature gets the best of you, and even when you think you are correct about something, or even if in hindsight I was correct about something, I approached it in this manic sort of I'm right, you're wrong kind of way, rather than a more smooth situation. So there's been here and there where like I feel like I don't think other people were ever the issue. Like I never thought like Jamie is not using me right, or so and so is not treating me well. Like that never bothered me.
Because you were in and out of POW a lot.
Yeah, and it was mental health.
Okay.
It was either mental health or it was injuries. Because you guys know I take the stupidest bumps imaginable. Dude, remember when?
I already know where this is going.
Oh, the fucking Gringo Killer on the outside apron.
Yep.
He goes, "Give me a Gringo Killer on the outside apron." I'm like, "We want to do what?" I'm like,
For people who don't know, homicides, 187 Gringo Killer or Hurricanes Vertebreaker. I was like, yeah, just give it to me on the apron. Like, no, I'm not doing that.
absolutely not.
I remember we're walking and
You
we're
go-
kind of walking through, and he tells us that, and me and Danny just look at each other. This motherfucker want to die today?
He goes,
Yup.
And I even said, "Yeah, you're right." I said, "I'm not doing that." Like, "Yeah, the fuck you are." I said, "I'm not doing that." Like, Dan, you're fucking giving me that fucking move. I'm like, Mike, I don't feel comfortable because dude, that's the hardest part of the ring, and I feel so fucking nervous. I don't want to hurt you.
Part of my body.
So then, long story short, we did it.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. We absolutely did it.
We did it.
What happened though was, as we were coming
Your
down,
shoulder caught
my
the-
shoulder caught the bottom rope.
Yeah.
So then I went down, my face hit the sign, I flipped out.
Yeah, it was
looked great.
it was a crazy bump. I
It
remember
looked
that.
great. It was a lot of fun.
I just saw the people in the crowd go, "Oh,
Yeah.
wait, is he alive? What the fuck?" Like,
Yeah,
That match was fun, man.
That was a lot of- yeah,
that
a lot
was
of
a
fun.
fun fucking
that
match.
was a
Four-way.
right?
It was four. It was me, you, Jazz, and Kyrie.
Okay, that's right.
That's where I did the double Doomsday also.
Yes.
I fucking love that
Yeah,
spot
that was a lot
too.
of fun.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
I was hoping Jazz would be here because me and Jazz have some of the stupidest matches on record. I remember, like, well, one day, what I want to do with my podcast one day is like bring guys on and like let's do watch-alongs and stuff like that. Because I remember me and Jazz had a 2 out of 3 falls like the week before in Elk Grove, and we had so much fun. It was great. To the point that we were like, yeah, we'll just talk about our stuff later as the draws closer. Next thing I know, we're like, all right, you guys are up. I'm like, what's up? We didn't talk about anything at all. So we went out there and had the stupidest match possible. It was so much fun.
Dude, yesterday we had our fucking last man standing match.
Yeah.
Right? So he brought a couple things. One of the things he brings was first he says it's a mannequin head that his daughter used to use to like practice hair on.
Okay.
It's a mannequin head. Okay. First thing I'm thinking about is that
Al Snow style.
mannequin head,
that's
right?
right,
yeah.
So the first it's a mannequin head. Okay, cool. Whatever. He's like, I'm like, what can we do with that? And me and Javier always do a spot where I set someone up for the Shattered Dreams, and I'll distract the ref, and then he runs in and he fucking does the fucking nut shot.
I'm pretty sure I've done it to him.
So then we're talking about that. Oh, I think Javier came up with this spot. He's like, let Danny hit you with the Shattered Dreams early in the match, and then you get it back. But then instead of hitting him with the Shattered Dreams, you grab the head and have the head do the Shattered Dreams.
Nice.
All right, cool. We're getting ready to walk outside. Hey, we're like on next. Like the match is going on. You guys ready? Yeah, whatever. I'm like, don't forget the head. Oh yeah, it's a fucking Ariel from Little Mermaid. That's the head. I'm like, what the fuck is that? He's like, this is the head. I'm like, that's fucking Ariel from Little Mermaid, dude. What the fuck? And I'm like, oh, this is gonna be bad.
This is going to look inappropriate.
This is gonna look bad, dude. I'm like, you gotta fucking look. That's a little girl's fucking toy, dude. What the fuck? He's like, what, man? My daughter used to use that. I'm like, that's not a mannequin head, dude. You bought you got an Ariel for your daughter, and she just has long hair. She would just play with it. That's what that is, Like, what the fuck? So we used it. And then it's funny because he did it when he did it to me. The crowd popped. Well, then whatever. I bumped him. He rolled out. Javier hands me the mannequin head.
I handed it to him so that he can use it on Jazz.
I said, fuck that. I dropped it in the middle of the ring, and I dropped a leg drop on it. Boom.
Nice.
Right away, they started booing. Boo! And I did it again. The boos even got louder. I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. I grabbed the chair, and I fucking hit it. I fucking broke that fucking head.
There you go.
And they were just booing the shit out. And then Jazz is outside after the match. He's like, bro, he goes, when I saw what they were booing, I'm like, what's he doing? Because he was loading up for the chocolate mist. And I saw what you were doing. I'm like, oh my God, this is fucking awesome. He's like, I did not think you were going to fucking lay out the doll. I don't think you're going to hand me a fucking Ariel doll, asshole. What the fuck is that? A mannequin head is something different, motherfucker.
Dude, and it's a story like that like shines why learning how to work on the fly is so important.
Yeah.
Because something like that, where you're like, all right, this isn't great. What can we make? How can we make chicken salad?
chicken shit.
And you're like, all right, well, we're going to take this fucking chair and destroy this piece of shit.
And speaking of like using gimmicks like that, you were one of the first persons I ever seen use the Legos.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that match was rough because I think I broke my collarbone around a minute into it.
Wait, what match is this?
Me versus CJ in the street fight down in Elk Grove.
And you broke your collarbone a minute into it?
About a minute in, I went diving through the ropes, and he hits me with a cookie sheet, and I nosedive. So it's about a minute into it, I break my collarbone. CJ gets me back into the ring and pins me, but I kick out. He's like, what are you doing? It's like, they paid to see us wrestle.
And did you know right away that you broke it?
I knew it immediately, but I didn't know how to navigate around it. So everything, all of a sudden, you just hear,
What kind of cell job is that?
like, I don't think Mikey sells like that. It was funny because to
Friggin' Mickey Mouse.
to listen to Tyler describe it is wild too, because like they have the way the Elk Grove VFW is set up is like we're wrestling and then we're under the locker rooms underneath.
Yeah.
So like you have the TV on, but they don't have sound, so people can talk and do their shit. And so I come diving from the ropes, and he sees like, and then hears the poof. Yeah. But from there, you guys have to check it out because I think I went another 10 minutes or so, including I had to power bomb. Excuse me, I had to power bomb CJ. Sorry, CJ on the thumbtacks. I had to take a bulldog on the thumbtacks. I did took the Moonlight Drive flipping thing, and then I took a power bomb from the top onto the Duplo bricks and Legos. I got hand sanitizer in my eyes, so it was a hell of a.
You've had some wild matches, dude. Because one of my favorite things about you is that when you watch a Mikey Wild match, not only are you expecting some pretty wild bumps, but you're also it looks stiff. But you're a very, very snug, almost like Japanese style wrestler.
Very.
Because the throws that you give and the shots that you give look like you're out there murdering the other person.
Yeah.
And I've always loved that because I've been hit by you, but it wasn't necessarily it didn't necessarily register as how people would see it. You know what I mean?
I took advice that Regal gave me, like being at WWE when I had talked to him previously before I had the WWE stuff. And he was just like, just hit people very hard in very safe places. So as long as, like, I would always practice by hitting myself, like taking something and hitting myself and finding the spots where you can hit people and they can just shake it off. Because earlier, man, there was some where, like, Steve Stone, I feel awful about. Like, I would give that Kofi kick. Oh, shit.
Right.
That spin kick. And I gave him a concussion. It was like, after that, like, knowing how, especially knowing now, Steve's struggle with mental health, and previously, like, memory and stuff like that, knowing that I contributed to it, that always made me feel fucking awful. So.
Oh, no shit. I didn't know that happened.
Yeah. So it's very weird because I would get the reputation of like being super stiff, like shooting on being like, I don't remember ever trying to hurt anyone. I always remember laying my shit in, but that's because I want it back.
Yeah.
Or if I ever did stiff someone a little too hard, it was usually be like someone I knew who was close, like CJ. We had a match together and he messed something up. So in order to take I didn't hit him because he messed up. In order to take the attention away from what just happened, I hit him with a big one, and now the crowd's like, "Ooh!" Now they completely forgot that he did that.
Yeah.
So it was just me like trying to make sure
Cover.
no one's shitting on him. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I grew up watching WWF, WCW, but it was probably like around 94, 95 when you could start seeing in magazines like FMW, New Japan, All Japan.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been brought up like Jushin Liger, Tiger Mask, Mitsuharu Masawa, Kobashi, those guys.
Because one of the matches, and we were just talking about it before we started recording, the hardcore match you had with Tyler.
Yeah, the street fight.
Oh my God. And you fucking took that chair that had thumbtacks all fucking glued onto this chair.
Tyler wanted no part of doing that spot.
I don't blame you. You like
that seems to
be a trend here, dude.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mom, can I get my phone real quick? Because I saved something recently. In that thank you, Ma. In that match, my brother-in-law is in the crowd. Well, at the time, he was like my brother-in-law. He's Lil Onion's dad. And actually, real quick before we move on, for Pride Month, I do want to make note because you guys and most of the world would know him as Nephew Wild.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your nephew.
Seth, yeah. He has transitioned into a girl, and she goes by the name Sophie now.
Sophie.
So if you do hear me mention a niece, that's who I'm talking about. Yeah. So
Sophie.
nephew would be Onion, niece would be
Sophie. Okay.
Yeah. But Onion's dad is in the crowd, and I'm pulling out a big wood tray of mouse traps.
Oh, I remember that.
And yeah, the look on his face is just fantastic. If you want to take that bad boy.
Right in the camera.
Because people ask too, like, were those real? Like, yeah, everything I've done is real. Like, those were real mouse traps. I have a very high tolerance of pain. You can head it back to Ma. Thank you, Mother dear.
So when you're building this thing, I'm imagining you in the garage gluing these things. Mama Wild comes out and she sees this. What the fuck are you doing?
No, she knew. She definitely knew.
I was about to say, she probably walked down and said,
And the
You need any help?
Yeah.
the chair of thumbtacks, I think I did at the dining room table, and she would like make sure I had the glue.
This is gonna murder you, but here you go, I'll help you.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I'm putting together a chair that I know later. I think I had a 64 thumbtack stuck in my head, and like
I remember
some of them
the
broke
picture.
off.
Oh my!
So we had to get needle nose pliers and pull them out.
when I first saw the chair shot,
Yeah.
and then when you fucking put your head down and like, you
Yeah.
just saw them all stick. I was like, oh my!
The plan was because I assumed Tyler wouldn't hit me hard enough. Like I said, at this time it was Tyler Sunday, who was still very timid about doing anything.
Oh, he swung the shit out of that chair.
Yeah, and so
The Tyler nowadays, you would never have had that thought. He would have been like, nah, he's gonna swing.
you know what's funny? Tyler said a quote before when we were backstage somewhere, and it's true. He's like, I learned, I stopped messing up when I stopped caring about Mikey's health. It was like, yeah, because I'll always, like, I've never been hurt in the ring from somebody hurting me. Oh, Mother Dear's got a call. Hey.
She got a booty call.
She got that booty call and that booty. I saw him walk as she went out.
Talking about Tyler.
So yeah, that match was wild because I was not expecting Tyler to throw it that hard. So when I fall down to my knees, he's actually supposed to swing the chair again, and I was just going to eat it in the face.
Oh.
But when he swung that first one, and I saw it come, I was like, "Fuck off!" I throw my hands up, and I'm like, "Absolutely
So
not."
you were willing to take one straight to the
Yeah, I
fucking
was
face?
going to take it right to the face. I was going to just close my eyes, and hopefully the text didn't go in my eye. If they did, whatever.
You fucking.
I guess the vertebraker wasn't that bad.
Again,
Huh?
in hindsight, like now, I would not do those things. Absolutely not. But again, then
But at that time,
yeah.
why? What's making you, or like, why are you wanting to put your body through so much like that?
Angry, angsty.
Is that like a way? Is that a way to numb the emotional pain?
Yeah. Do you want to know how my love of wrestling started?
Please do.
My mom, we were in the apartments in Waukegan. This lady was outside. It was late at night, right? This girl, I don't remember her name, but she was a friend of my babysitter. I had to be maybe 5 at this time. And where my bedroom was, we lived in Section 8 housing in Waukegan. Like, we were the only white people in that neighborhood. But like 10:30, 11 o'clock, lights off, go to your bedroom or wherever I was staying. And I would always like bring my wrestlers up on my top bunk to use the moonlight so I could keep playing with my wrestlers. And I remember seeing that girl out there. Again, don't remember her name. I know her mom's name is Yvonne. And I was like, oh, there she is. So I was like just watching her, and I saw her boyfriend get out of his car and was just waiting for her to come down. And then he pulled out a gun and shot her right in the head.
Holy fuck!
I watched her just drop to the ground.
You saw it all?
Yeah.
And you were how old?
5 maybe. I remember not crying at all. I just went back to playing with my wrestlers. So
He's all like, man, she took a pretty good bump. Like, what the fuck?
I think
Holy
so I think now, like,
kids don't like, they see stuff like that.
I didn't understand. I don't think I really computed it.
My wife has a very similar story, like being a kid and seeing someone get decapitated.
Yeah.
And
I've seen that as well.
just like shit like that, when you're a kid, unless your imagination is at that point in time when you're kind of understanding that you can get it, but otherwise you're not getting that.
When we were like I loved my neighborhood, but as they started to tear down Caprini Green, they started putting them in our neighborhood. But weren't like building bigger areas. They were just trying to shove everybody in these areas. And I remember I was walking. My mom was supposed to be home by like
Hold on,
5
dude.
or
Stop,
something.
stop chopping the ice on the mic.
Yeah, I just
Yeah. You can hear all that.
my mom was supposed to be home by like 5 or whatever. So I knew I'd come home from school. I can play in the park. And then my mom was the first door, the apartment. And so I would just go there. But sometimes, like, if there was a lookout, you knew you couldn't go.
Yeah.
Like, you knew shit was happening. Like, all right, move along. But, like, I was young. And, like, even though, like, their lookout was in my same grade. So I think I was 5 years old. Their lookout was 5. Yeah, Hamza, he was
Wow.
5 years old.
No shit.
That's
Yeah.
nuts, man.
And so I knew what was happening up at the park. But, like, in my mind, I was like, no, what could happen to me from my mom is worse. She told me to be there. And so I don't remember all of this. You would have to ask mom, like, the aftermath. But I remember going to the park anyway, and they, like, made it very apparent, like, you cannot be here because drug deal was getting ready to happen. I saw the shoes on the power lines, I knew. And I don't know quite what happened, but I ended up getting hit in the back of the head, and then they hung me from the handlebars, like from a noose, and just swung me. And the last thing I remember is crawling to my neighbor's. No, I crawled to my apartment, and I laid there and passed out. I don't know what happened after that. I just remember I got to the hospital somehow.
Wow.
And you were 5 years old?
That was later in the summer, so I think I was 5.5 going to 6, yeah.
Holy fuck.
Yeah,
Man.
and then so it was around like 6 years old was when we moved. Because after that stuff happened, it was very much like, all right, well, this isn't where we want to grow up. So.
And after that, did you find out what actually happened to you? Like, there, you know.
No,
So I'm kind of curious because I feel like we missed an answer. Good or
Yeah.
how is this? Because you said
dude, there's a lot going on in my
We,
life here.
Danny asked what sparked your love for pro wrestling. And then
Yeah.
the story came out, and I'm like, man, the murder of some girls sparked your
Well,
love?
I think that was a coping mechanism, not my love for pro wrestling. I think that became a coping mechanism. So whenever I don't have a, like, my dad left when I was 2, so I didn't have a dad growing up. It was just my papa. I ended up seeing my dad again, like, randomly at, like, an arcade when I was 26.
Really?
Like, hello, Michael. And I'm like,
Who are you? Who are you?
oh. Yeah, I was with my buddies at the Family Fun Center, and they're like,
And you knew that was your dad?
yeah.
You knew that was him?
Yeah, I get along with him. He's a good dude.
Okay.
Just maybe he wasn't ready for me at the time. That's for him and my mom to work out.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Do you still have any contact with them to this day?
Yeah, definitely. As a matter of fact, my little sister was just in the. My little sister Jade was just in the hospital with only 10% of her heart working. So
Oh, shit. She okay?
yeah, she's at home now, but I try not to seesaw with every update. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, let me know if she goes back into the hospital, or let me know if she gets better. Because otherwise, I'm just gonna sit there racking my brain
Yeah.
over, like, every little thing. So yeah, we do still keep in contact. But throughout my life, it's just been my mom and wrestling.
Okay.
And then, like, I would find, like, different father figures or different people to look up to. And it, like, I think people are kind of afraid to ever say someone might be a father figure or look up to somebody. But, like, even someone like my buddy Frank, who I was living with, I look up to as, like, almost like a father figure. And he's younger than me. But he's got his shit together more than I did. So that was just an example. Like, Jimmy, another person who was a father figure. Like, because now I'm in wrestling. I didn't have my mom and someone else who could help me. So my love for pro wrestling really came from my mom, my family, but my dependence on pro wrestling, I think, came as a result of a coping mechanism from the trauma.
Now that makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah.
When you broke into pro wrestling, as creative as you are, I always love to know when people are putting together their characters, everything. So with as many ideas as sometimes go into your head, how are you narrowing those the nuggets of gold, so to speak, to eventually shape what is going to be Mikey Wild?
It was kind of weird when I talked to Jimmy that same night that I went to that show for my birthday. And right away, I'm not quite sure where he got this idea, but he's like saw me, he's like, yeah, you can make a good leprechaun.
What the fuck?
And I was like,
Leprechaun.
I'm sorry, what?
God damn it, Jimmy.
Like he saw that I might have had some red in my beard, and I was like, I'm not a real Irishman. But I was like, okay, cool. But at that point, I was like, I didn't care. Like, that was literally the first night meeting him. You could have made me literally anything. I didn't care. I just wanted to be a part of wrestling.
Yeah.
But as he got to know me and stuff like that, he was like, why don't you just make your character you? He's like, you are a character. He's like, you have a lot going on. He's like, just be yourself. But since I was going to be a heel, working with Matt, he wanted me to just be more punkish, more grungy-ish. So that's what I went with. I picked the name initially Michael only. The first name, I wanted to keep my name. But that was also Michael Graves from the Misfits. And then Jerry Only from the Misfits. So I made Michael Only. That was initially going to be my name. And I remember Toots was like, that sucks. And I was like, all right, cool. I don't know. I think it was, we ended up changing it to Michael Wild. Right? And then Justin came up and he was like, hey, I'm getting ready to cut a promo. And he's like, Michael Wild sounds goofy. Like, it's not
Michael Wild, yeah.
He's like, it's not
It
rolling
does.
off the tongue. He's like, what if I'm just like my boy Mikey Wild? And I was like, that sounds awesome. Just roll with that. So yeah, Justin James is literally the person who came up with
Justin James came up with Mikey Wild, huh?
However, my first match almost was not Mikey Wild because Jimmy told me he wanted me to use Mikey Buck Wild. And I was like, okay. Like, you listen, I'll be Buck Wild. That's fine. Riccolo comes up to go over my stats. He's like, and weighed in from Jackson, New Jersey, Bucky Wild. And I'm like, I'm sorry? Bucky
Okay,
Wild?
we're not doing that.
I was like I know this is my first match, but I'm putting my foot down somewhere. Like, you guys could pull me from the show, and I'd still like, Bucky's out. I'm not. So, yeah, Ned Diho always calls me Bucky, or they will call me when we would run our Odium shows, Trevor would make the lanyard.
The lanyard,
That way we
And
do.
you were not allowed in that building without the lanyard.
No, absolutely not. And it didn't matter whether or not your name was spelled right or not.
He ran a tight ship, dude.
Oh, I
M-I-C-
know. My name was spelled with an O and shit. Xavier.
Mickey-Wilde, Mickey Wildy. So I get called that a lot.
I've heard a lot of people call you Mickey
Yeah.
Wild. Is that where it came from?
Yep.
Really?
From the lanyard that Trevor made.
God damn it, Trevor.
So I think all of my gimmicks really are just extensions of myself. I honestly don't think I've really done anything. Like, even when I did the American Nightmare gimmick, I do love horror movies and stuff like that, but I would still make jokes. I'd still be goofy, shit like that.
Cody Rhodes stole that from you.
No, Lord, no. I stole it from Dustin Rhodes. And
I remember texting him literally
Yeah.
when all that was going down, and the very first time he called himself the American Nightmare, I picked up my phone and I went, well, you can't use that anymore.
And it was really, really cool because I think a lot of people text me, were like, hey, man, sorry to hear about that. But there were some higher up people that I'd want to name drop, but they were like, perfect opportunity to reinvent something else. And I was like, yeah, exactly. And so if I was ever away from injury or mental health stuff, I always tried to come back as more of a refreshed character, even if it was a small tweak. Like the stuff I did with CJ was probably some of the most fun I've ever had in my life.
I felt that was the most truest version of you.
It is.
Yeah.
Because I remember as your character, as your normal, sometimes you've always had shades of something else with with Mikey
Right.
Wild doing that. But when you were with CJ, I always felt like I was literally talking to the guy backstage, and that same guy just literally went out to the ring. You know what I mean?
That's exactly what it was. And CJ and I have you seen our how we became a tag team video?
I don't think
It's set to Mbop. Stonewall produced it.
I might have.
Yeah, we end up getting each other track jackets. Like, it's really.
I think
really
I did. Okay, I think I do remember that.
fun. We do like a Step Brothers parody.
Nice.
It's really but CJ's so smart when it comes to writing and when it comes to dry humor. And the fact that the kid is older than me, but looks like he's 10 years younger than me.
Yeah.
Like he should have been tagging with
Right.
Pee-wee, you know?
Yeah.
Right. But him and I, I've known CJ for a long time. I was working at Walmart when I was 16, and that's where I met him.
Okay.
And just saw all the punk stickers on the back of his car and shit. And we started talking about like playing basketball, the summer of basketball one day, and we played almost no basketball. But I did start training him in my front yard, and then my sister's garage, and then
Oh, so he trained with you. He wasn't a POW guy?
not yet, because those were the stipulations of me, like I have any fucking say. But it was a request upon Jimmy, like, hey, I would like to come back to POW. If you want me back to POW, I'm only going to come back as if you take him as a trainee. And so it was like, let him get in there and chain wrestle, and sure enough, like Ben Kanoa gets in there and chain wrestles with him. And CJ's doing stuff that Ben wasn't even doing. Ben's like, yeah, I think he's fine. Because I fucking love chain wrestling. Absolutely adore it. So I would always say to him, like, what would Regal do? Because I'd put him in something, like, what would Regal do? Spin into the pressure. So we always still say that. But it was just so much fun, the shit we would get into. Like, he's a perfect yes and guy, right? So, and even my promos, I would say some outlandish shit, and he would keep a straight face, like, "That's right, Mikey." Like, I'd say the absolute dumbest shit. Like, I remember when I told Tyler, like, Tyler, you piece of garbage. I ain't a cream puff. I'll never be a cream puff. But your mom loves my cream pies. And CJ was just like, nope. He just goes, nope, and walks away. I was like, all right, I guess we're not using that one then? He goes, no, we're not saying that.
That was a good one.
So there's some where he's just like, no. But other than that, TLB was just so much fucking fun.
Earlier you mentioned some advice that Regal gave you, William Regal, because you've had your WWE tryouts, your AEW tryouts. Yeah. How did that come about, man?
The tryouts themselves, in 2019, the WWE tryout, it wasn't an actual tryout because the story's so much fun, I can't wait to tell it. Here we go. Okay, so I got cleared, medically cleared to go for the tryout at WWE with Dana. Dana Adiva, her and I are very close friends. Known her forever. As a matter of fact, I'll be teaching her daughter how to drive soon.
In Mama's car, right?
I was saying she don't love me that much. But so my knee was pretty bad. I knew I wasn't really going to get cleared from a doctor, but luckily, my doctor was my girlfriend of 8 years. So we had broke up by that point, but we were still very close friends, and she gave me the go ahead. Like, she made sure I was, like, nothing would happen to me, but she knew I can work around the fucking knee issue, no big deal. So when I get to WWE, and you have to be dressed to the nines there. Like, I was all suited up and stuff. It was so stupid. I understand why they want to, but I still think it's stupid. You don't have to wear a tie like a clown. But we get there, and they do the medical on me, and they're like, the knee could be troublesome. So it kind of turned into if everyone's able to get a tryout, and it does come to you, like, yes, you can get in there, but otherwise we don't want you doing anything like in ring. But they still had me do skits and backstage stuff. So before I talk about it, because it was in 2019, I think it was a SmackDown, an NXT, Survivor Series, and then Raw. That was the stretch I worked. And we go in, and they talk to you about your social media. Because what they do,
so they do a deep dive check.
Yeah, because what they do is they show you personally how you can key search things that way. Like, hey, if there is stuff on the internet that we shouldn't be seeing, because like if we found it, it's not a big deal. But do know that we have found it, so get it off. That way, more people don't find it.
Man, Danny, if we would get signed, they're like, hey, we need that podcast out.
They had
podcast is done, bro. Quick.
They had specific posts for people of like, hey, you said this, and like it was stuff that wasn't bad, but it was like, this is how it could be construed. Just be conscientious. And it got to me, and fuck, who did I have? I'm trying to think if I had. I'm trying to think who I had. I know
your
John.
Whole life needs to be deleted, sir.
I kid you not. They said, Mikey, you're better off just deleting your social media. And it was funny because I was asked later in the day, they're like, if they offered you a contract today, but you had to delete your social media, like, would you? I was like, no. They're like, that's so dumb. And I was like, why? Because if they find out who I really am, I'll be fired by tomorrow. So the contract don't matter.
So they actually told you had to...
Yeah, like in jest, they were like, you'd be better off to just create a new profile entirely.
It's Mikey with a suit.
Because you're right. Because I mean,
That's his only picture.
You guys...
It's Michael Wild. That's weird. This guy just popped up.
But, and then they all, like, I remember them asking about special talents and stuff like that. And I already know from my friends being there that when you say you have a special talent, your whole gimmick's going to be around the special talent. So I straight up told John Cone, and I forgot the lady's name, that I could put a whole bag of jelly beans in my ass.
You didn't really?
If you want an idea of how out of control I was at WWE,
So you shouldn't give a fuck.
ask Marche Rocky, because me and Marche were together the whole time. And it was out of control. I remember during
I bet your Marcia was trying to be so like
No.
and then he's like, Jesus.
No, not at all. During the Survivor Series main, I think that's when like Keith Lee, Matt Riddle
Yeah,
were
yeah.
doing their shit. Brock Lesnar was there. Him and I were in the back quoting the ladies, man. And like people are trying to watch the Survivor Series and we're like, oh, hello, sweet thing. Like me and Marche are a problem. But like people were just laughing and joking around. They didn't care. I got two roles. I was with Jason Harris. Shout out to Jason over in Jersey now. Dana was there. I'm going to forget some people, so I don't want to keep mentioning. But it was a lot of fun. The NXT one, I ended up getting... Do you guys know that I got a role in NXT? Like, in a
No,
match?
I know you. No, in NXT, no. I know you got one.
During the War Games
I know you
match.
did a spot with Rusev, right? A backstage spot.
Yeah, I did.
That I do know.
I did a spot for...
Pull the mic closer to you a little bit.
Oh, sorry, brother.
Are you good?
I do a spot for the War Games match in 2019 in Chicago. And it came about because we were standing all in one area. I think it was me, Dana, and like some of the other girls, but Vince McMahon comes walking by.
The idea of Vince McMahon and Mikey Wild in the same room is
Right.
pretty hilarious to me, by the way.
Triple
That's why
H,
I'm laughing.
Triple H is next to me. Sean was next to him because they were still planning out like the Invasion NXT stuff. And the ladies' dressing room is right next to Vince's office, of course. And I straight up asked Hunter.
Why wouldn't it be?
Right. I straight up asked Hunter. I was like, what do I even say to him? He's like, you don't.
You don't say nothing to him.
I was like, fair enough. Vince comes walking out of his office, and all my brilliant wisdom, I go, what up, Vince? And he stops. He looks at me. He looks me up and down. He goes, hello. And then he looks at Hunter, and he walks by, and then Hunter looks at me like, are you fucking serious? And I'm like, yeah, that was my fault. And he just laughs. So later they're going to do a spot with I think it's Adam Cole is the one that's going to be coming down, and Ciampa's already in the cage. I don't remember, but having worked with Ciampa a bunch in Milwaukee and having done AEW stuff with him, and then on Joey's show for State Line, like I knew Ciampa well enough, and since I was already in Triple H's and Sean's purview. They asked for some people to go sit down ringside, and they needed someone to hold the table. That way, when Adam Cole goes through it, that bitch didn't shoot out and hit anyone. They had a bunch of us go sit down there, and I was very particular. I was like, yo, like I straight up said to Hunter, like, can you put so and so next to me? I was like, because the other person that's next to me, I was like, I'm not sitting next to that motherfucker all day. And I'm not going to say who the person I didn't want to sit all day, but he's in the shot, and I'm sure you can see it. But Brie Coda, Elena Black, was the one who I was like, yo, make sure she sits next to me because she's fucking fun. And
I like I just going up to 100. Hey, make sure this happens, okay? Because I'm not dealing.
I don't care. And like he was like, yeah, dude, like,
So, Mikey, why didn't you get signed?
yeah, that's never been a question I've asked. I know full well, like, I have no business. Wait till I get to the Raw, because this is just NXT. Right? I do want to throw out a big name here. Tom Baron Corbin, man, one of the sweetest guys on the planet. I wasn't working with him, but I just saw the way he treated everyone because he was doing the King gimmick, and so Jason had to put him on his back and stuff, and like he was so appreciative of everyone that was doing that for him. Just seemed like a real cool, down to earth guy. So huge shout out there. But we get out there, we're doing our spots, and it was just unreal. It was really, really cool to be a part of that. And then of course I'm getting texts that are like, LMAO, glad to see you got to NXT, like mocking me. And I'm like, yeah, I literally am working.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, wait, are you serious? I'm like, do you think I pay ringside seats to watch my friends fake fight? The fuck? I could just invite them over for that. And so that was really, really fun. I'm going to tell a quick story about Brie, and I'm sorry. The girls, she's awesome. She's really, really fun. We were sitting right in the extras area, all suited up, right? We go to catering. This was for Survivor Series. And Bray Wyatt tells us, like, yo, don't sleep on this duck. Like, this duck's banging. I think it was Isaiah Velasquez who comes walking by and he's like, don't sleep on this Captain Crunch, because he just got cereal. And I was like, so funny. But we get back to the table and Storm was trying to tell her, like, yo, try some of the duck. And she's like, I don't fuck with seafood. And I'm like, Bree. Lapse in judgment. They're so funny. That was the first and only time I met Wyndham, though, Bray, and it was unbelievable.
That's awesome.
Because it was right after Nash was born. Nash was born in March, I think. And so by November, he was doing the Fiend thing, and Nash was backstage with JoJo. And it was really cool because JoJo went go use the toilet. So here I just have a little Nash bouncing on my knee talking to Bray. Yeah, and we didn't talk about really wrestling at all. Just talked about my nephew's niece now. Talked about, he's big into college football. I don't know shit about college football, but I do love football, so we just talked about football. And then that was it, man. Just talked about family and stuff. That was really like my only experience with him, but it was so genuine that like I considered him a friend. And so him passing was very, very hard. And I think it came, Mom, 2 weeks after Sophie's dad passed away. So that was a tough one to get through. But he was someone who, while I was at WWE, like made sure I knew, like, dude, whatever. Like, because there were people backstage, Terry Taylor being one of them, but that like, I was getting ready to go out there to do my NXT spot. And he's like, why are you dressed like that? And I was like, that's what they gave me. He's like, where'd you get it? I was like, listen, dog, you got to ask me a question that I can answer. Because right now you're just asking me bullshit questions. And so finally I just went and got Michael Hayes. And I was like, can you tell Terry Taylor why I'm dressed like this? And he did. And he goes and tells Terry Taylor, like, how do you want him to dress, like a fucking rooster? And I was like, I did not want this to be a part.
No, but I can make a pretty good leprechaun.
The other very memorable time there was, and again, I'll only mention these names because, like, I've talked to them and it was a big deal to me. But for SummerSlam, before the show started, I was very conscientious about, like, where do I sit? Because I don't want to be in anyone's way or anything like that. And so I went up by Gorilla because that's where Manny was hanging. Samurai del Sol. Yeah, that's where he was hanging. So I go up there with him, Kofi, and Marche. And I was like, fuck it. I want to go sit down. Or at least like I want to watch the show because it was Gorilla's right here. And
no one,
like,
Mikey sat in Triple H's chair.
Right? No, I do.
Move over, Vince. I'll take this chair.
I go.
Vinny.
Move over, Vinny boy. Vinny boy. I do. I get ready to go sit in a chair, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not sitting down. And then someone's like, you can sit down. Like, I'm just here. And it was Paul Heyman. So I was like, oh, I appreciate it. Like, I won't be long. He's like, where are you going to go? And I was like, all right, fair enough. So Samoa Joe comes and sits next to him, and it was just so much fun to be able to like listen to Paul and then Joe talk back and forth. And this was on the Sunday. This was on the Survivor Series because me and Heyman worked together on Raw. But someone comes up, and like there's only three chairs though, so it's me, Paul Heyman in the middle, and then Samoa Joe. I don't know Joe personally at all. I think I've maybe said hi, hello. He seems like the coolest motherfucker on the planet. And Joe, if you want to go to prom with me sometime. But he does seem really cool. But then someone came and put their hands on my shoulders, and I was like, oh, fuck. And I started to get up immediately because I didn't know who it was. And they pushed me right back down. It was Pat Patterson. He's like, don't fuck. He's like, don't waste your energy on me. And it was just a really cool experience to have.
Yeah.
Like, because then it turned into, from me being a fly on the wall to listening to the dudes talk wrestling to me actively talking, asking questions, and learning from Samoa Joe, Paul Heyman, and Pat Patterson. And not much cooler experience than that.
Right.
But we get to Monday. Right? And they want us to do a promo thing where I think Rusev is being given a restraining order from Lana. It might have been the Bobby Lashley thing. I don't know. But it was me and Nick Cutler. And so Rusev walks in, and the idea is like we give him the cops give us paper or something like that. I read it and go, yep, that's official. And I was like, this doesn't make any sense. like, shouldn't someone clarify, like, because they just wanted to give us the paper and then me be like, no, Rusev, get out. And I was like, shouldn't I have to look at the paper to see whether or not it's an official document? And they were not having it. They were like, just do what we tell you to do. And I was like, you got it. And I kept fucking up every single time. Purposely fucking up. Why? Because I know who was in charge. So Heyman came over. So then I talked to Paul. I was like, Paul, this would make more sense, wouldn't it? And he was like, why haven't we been doing that? How many of these did you do? And I was like, I'm on like 7 of fucking these up.
Look, can we go talk to Vince about this?
Yeah. Hey, if we're going to make Miro look good, all right, I need to know my fucking... So he was very clear, like, you're not to say anything. Only Cutler was allowed to speak. So he's like, you have a good idea, but I don't trust anything coming out of your mouth. So I think Cutler was the only one allowed to talk, and I just looked at it like, yeah, fuck yeah, get out. Dude, Miro was so cool, dude. He remembered me again when I went to do my AEW stuff, but real cool dude. But that Monday, that whole shot, like that was the only time I've ever spent in like WWE working with them. And man, it was just so much fun because, I mean, you guys know me, like there was a standard that I had to meet and I could not give a fuck if I met your standard. I care if I meet my standards. Like, and so I'm going to go in there and I'm going to help people. I'm going to do whatever I can. But the second you're like, actually, you mean less of a person because you're not wearing a tie. Fuck you. I don't care. Also, maybe What Up Vince wasn't a good look, but I've also met and talked to Tony Khan too, and those are two very different conversations.
Please go to your AEW.
Okay.
I want to hear about it.
So this one starts.
Hey, what up, Tony?
This one starts off a little bit dark though, so I do want to preface.
Was it because it was AEW dark?
I appreciate that. I like it. No, it's because of suicide.
Oh, God damn it.
Way to go, dickhead.
Way to go. God damn it, Mike.
Suck my white ass. Yeah, I had a suicide attempt in June of, I don't remember the date when I went to NXT. Excuse me, AEW. It might have been 2021, 2022. I don't remember. It was up in Minnesota at the Target Center. But what had come out of that was like me sharing my experiences, stuff like that. Because of my experiences, I mean, you guys know I have friends. I don't like to say the names because I'm not certain people.
Yeah, no,
like, name dropping is gross to me unless it enhances a story.
Right.
Like if you tell me you went and got a cheeseburger with Steamboat, that's not an effective story. You could have got the cheeseburger without the name. But there was somebody I was talking to and sharing my experiences with in AEW, and I started to notice their pattern of behavior. I started to be worried about, and so I had Sean Dean check on them, and everything was all good. But I've known Sean Dean for a while, helped him when he was coming up here in Chicago, and just as a thank you for me looking out for one of theirs, he looked out for me and said, "Hey, we have something here." He's like, "I can't promise you get anything," but I was like, "That's cool. I'm just gonna come hang out. I'm hungry." And so that's how that kind of came about. And I went there with no expectations because I'm not getting a job at AEW. I'm not getting a job in wrestling at all, in all likeliness. Like my body's broken down. I mean, I think I have something to offer and we're creative and stuff like that, but maybe wrestling isn't my thing. But my thing was more just like, I'm going to hang out with friends. I'm going to meet some new people and it'll be a blast. And so I show up. Brandon is there. Brandon Clark, I believe is his name, from ACW. Eric Cannon's there. All these people just dressed absolutely great. And like, listen, if you're dressed worse than Eric Cannon at the show, I'm just kidding. Eric Cannon, punk rock boy, but he's got that beautiful beard and just throw on some like bowler shirts. I was dressed worse. I had a My Chemical Romance shirt on, jeans, and a flat brim. And like they were looking at me like, "You did not come here for a job." I'm like, "No, I don't care. Where the fuck's catering? That's all I care about."
I was promised a good meal.
Right.
I was promised fucking duck and goddamn cereal.
Dude, their catering was outstanding.
Promise seafood.
Promise that duck. Remember I went that they brought us to our little area, like where the extras, jobbers, stuff like that. I hate the word jobbers, but you know. And it was in there that I think I met for the first time this person. But on my way, I'd seen Dragon again, Bryan Danielson, which I think we've met previously through Sarah Del Rey, but I don't think he quite remembered me. But since he's Bryan Danielson, of fucking course I remember him. So I'm like, "What up, Dragon?" I just walk by and he just like does that little like, "Hello." So it took him a second to think like, "Wait." But
This motherfucker just called me Dragon?
I was just
BD.
I was just putting my shit together in the stalls or whatever. And so, have you guys seen the show New Girl with Zooey Deschanel?
No.
Brilliant, absolutely hilarious show. My friend Jenny turned me on to it. I thought it was gonna be like a chick kind of show, but it's so funny. She's awesome. But I started singing the theme song, which is like, "Who's that girl? It's Jess." So I said, "Who's that girl?" And then all of a sudden you hear, "It's Jess." And I go, "Who the fuck?" Eddie Kingston's over here fucking singing the rest of the New Girl song.
Dude,
So
awesome.
that was the first time I've ever met Eddie. I ended up meeting him again later because he had the room next to Devers, and I was with Devers at All In, and just the fucking coolest. Dude. He's awesome.
Partner. Just pictured him saying that.
I had-
Horrible voice.
Meeting Sting was surreal because like I dressed as Sting as a little guy, but meeting him, I of course also couldn't help but be myself. So I think Ashley Diamboise was there, and then Brandon was there, and I go up and I say, I was like, "Hey, after you're done with your line," because I was helping. I think I was helping Britt with like signings and pictures and stuff like that. And I think Ash had Sting. So I asked Ash if she could ask him. She said, "Just come ask him. He's cool." So I asked Sting, like, "Hey, would you mind if I took a picture once your line goes down?" He's like, "No, I'd love to." So I do go to him and I firmly shake his hand. I was like, "Man, it is an honor for you to meet me." And he just looks at me like, "What?" I'm like, "I'm just kidding." He ends up completely fucking with me later in catering, like next to me, but I can't tell that story on. It's a fun story, but it's like a personal story that I don't want the world to know. I'll tell you guys off. But that was AEW was a whole different experience because I had no intentions of wrestling. It was just like, all right, I'm going to do some extra work, do whatever. I walked by and Tony was there, and Tony like was looking like he's need to be 1,000 places at once. Just like that look of like, fuck, I'm trying to figure things out. Because I think there was the night that Hangman was taking the belt from Omega.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. And then with the Bucks kind of giving the approval and stuff. So it was a big night, big transition.
Yeah.
And then Cody's still there doing his thing. And
You
he's
walk
buying...
up to Cody. You took my ring name, bro.
I should have.
Sure.
As a matter of fact, I'm calling him out now.
Took my name, dog.
American Nightmare versus the Farang Nightmare. In Thailand, one time only. But no, I saw Tony walk in and I said, I just said, "What up, gorgeous? Looking good as ever." And he just goes, "What up, man?" And we just kept walking. That was the first time I talked to Tony God ever. The next time I talked to him was when we were in the hotel. It was me, Roman Presnell, and Devers. And he was looking around for something. And I asked him, like, "Tony, you all right, my guy? Like, what you looking for?" And he said, like, "Oh, hey, Mikey, I'm just looking for..." I was like, "Oh, shit, Tony." Like, I don't know if you guys know, like, Stonewall's Stonewall's roommate in college, or brother or whatever, was roommates with Tony Khan in school. And so I have a lot more connections to Tony than I realized. And then in turn, it was like when I said hi to Billy Corgan for the first time, and he said he loved Threat Level Black. And I'm like, what? Like, why? You watch me wrestle?
Yeah.
And it's really, really, really cool. But in AEW, man, I had no expectations. So everything that came to me, I was so appreciative. Like I said, I mean, this was in, I want to say November. So, I mean, 6 months prior, I intended not to even be around. So the idea that people even wanted me in the same room with them, I was just happy to do. And so I remember how overjoyed I probably seemed when Preston Vance, 10, from Dark Order came. And he's like, "Hey, who's Mikey?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm Mikey. What's up?" He's like, "Oh," he's like, "We're going to be working tonight." And I'm like, "Oh, cool." and I sounded so dorky because I was like, "Oh, neat. This is fun." That I'm sure he thought I was like, "This is your first time." And I know that's what he thought because he wanted to go over the match with me. And I mean, constantly. And from working for so long, I mean, at this point, it was close to 15 years at that point I'd been working. So there's only one of two things. If someone wants to go over to a match over and over and over, that it's either they want to remember it themselves, so they need to call it, or they don't trust that you remember that fucking thing, so they want to keep calling it. And we kept going over the match, and I was just looking at him like, okay, I don't know what to do now. Like, we're good, man. And so then when we actually started talking, he talked about going to Harley Race's school and then coming here. And I told him how long I had been working. He's like, oh, I was like, we probably didn't go over the match that much. I was like, well, I didn't know if you were going over for my sake or your sake, man. It didn't matter to me. And I think Cabana was our agent as well, which this is the best. Shout out to Paulie, because Paulie always throws together my outfits like the same day. Paulie, I'll pay you 3 months ahead of time, and then the morning of a show, I'll make my fucking gear. But I was at AEW, and Colt asked, he's like, about getting some different gear, and he's like, who makes it? And I told him, and he's like, he's got good stuff when he takes his time. I was like, he did not take his time with this one. But we go out there, and it was, again, surreal, because I'm up in Minnesota. Like, I don't think of myself as a successful professional wrestler by any stretch of the imagination. So then to hear people already know who I was, like before Dark came back on, like people were yelling for me, and I was like, oh, cool, this is fun. But what makes it really cool too is, like, with that being my coping mechanism, I can also turn off the crowd entirely. Mm-hmm. Like, it is almost like movies. I can make it so it's completely silent. Mm-hmm. And I've been wrestling with people to where, like, the silence actually annoys me. So the next thing you know, I'm calling spots in a British accent or something. And I was like, all right, here you go, took the clothesline. And it's like, what's happening? And I'm like, sorry. Because, like, I've learned to focus here, and then when I need to listen to the crowd, like, kind of do that. And so through all the stuff we put together, he was Vance was very particular about, like, making sure he doesn't hurt me, nothing like that. But I leaned into everything he gave me, just to make sure it looked extra good. And he wanted to give me a little spot. And so we did a fun little, like, couple chop spots, and I'm like, that's how that's done. And then I turn around and he just flexes, and I'm fucking terrified. You know? But there was and I'll never forget this, because the finish is he wants to give me the spine buster, and then when I go up, he throws me in the full Nelson. But I knew where he was throwing me. I was like, I'm gonna have to feed around so that I'm a hard cam. He didn't take that into account when he threw me, so he hits if the hard cam's there, he hits the spine buster, so I'm here, and then I have to fold up so my back's to it. So I start selling around, like, and then I'm on my ass. And sure enough, like, he went and grabbed me and he said, thank you. And so I was supposed to tap out or quit from the Nelson. And he said, don't tap. And so it was a ref stoppage. Mm-hmm. And it was really cool, because then we got in the back, and he was really appreciative that, like, I sold into the spot for him. And he's like, I didn't want you to tap out. Like, that way, if we work in the future, he's like, you have something to say, like I never quit or anything. I was like, how cool. Like, he has no business.
He thought about you. And
he has no, like, he's a real good dude, man. Real good dude. And he's doing well now, and I hope to see him again sometime.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
But AEW was a lot of fun, because, I mean, I was so over the fact of, like, wrestling politics, this, that, and the other stuff. I hadn't seen Punk in forever, so I got to see him. I always loved seeing Cody and Dustin. That was my first time meeting Brandy. She's just a sweetie. That was the first time seeing Cole again since we did the spot in NXT, so that was cool. Here's one thing. I remember going to WWE, and I walked in the door, and I was like, there's no chance. Like, I was like, there's no chance I could possibly get signed. Because I was behind this person, like, this dude's a monster. Turned around, it was Lesnar, and I was like, oh, never mind. Like, well, no one's as big as this. So
it really is a monster.
It was.
Yeah. But no, that I remember seeing that. I watched WWE and AEW when you were on, man. I was so happy for you.
Yeah, it was really, really cool.
Hell yeah.
And here's what becomes crazy, though, is because everyone else was proud of me, but I've never been proud of myself. It wasn't until I moved to Thailand and worked on myself, because I was using wrestling as a coping mechanism. While everyone else was like, hey, we're proud of you. You are accomplishing this. I didn't think I was accomplishing it, because I was using it to hide from my pain. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't accomplishing anything.
Yeah.
I was hiding.
Yeah.
But going to Thailand, I was a staunch atheist moving, but now I'm moving to a Buddhist country When I first moved there, I purposely picked Halal Street. That way I was living with the Muslims. I started working at Regina Coeli, which is an all-girls Catholic school. So I made it a point to like, I was taking in Buddhism, I was taking in Quran, I was taking in the Bible, like taking in everything. Just now I identify as Shinto Buddhist, Japanese Shinto, very big, and then Buddhism, of course. But finding myself in Thailand, the spiritual journey is far and away the biggest impact. You learn to care so less about what's going on that you can't affect and you can't control. And then worry about what you can control and what you can't affect. Like, for instance, we talked about, most people probably see this and go, I remember Mikey having nice teeth. Yeah, I did have nice teeth. But when I got back to the States, my mom's dog ate them. And like we talked about,
that was an expensive meal.
It was like, what's easier to control then? Her behavior or whether or not I care about okay, it's just money. I can make more money. Like, people are always so worried about their income. They tend to not care about their outcome. And if my outcome isn't happiness, I'm not doing it. Like, how many times do you guys see me do interviews? How many shows do you guys see me do? Not a lot. Because if things don't make me happy, I don't do them. And like, I have no problem telling people no, because the more I say no to someone, the more things I can say yes to. And then to that point, the things that I say yes to, those are the things that matter. And the most important thing is to keep the most important thing, which is my friends, my family, and my community. So going to Thailand, like, it's a whole different world. I first go up there, shout out to Tep in the Karen village, saving elephants, working with elephants, stuff like that. Then, like I said, working in the Catholic school. Then I moved over to an all Thai school. And then from a Thai school, went to an international school. And then I was doing speaking engagements at different universities because they don't have like sincere mental health and special needs over there. And I have a few students, not more than a few students, that it would be efficacious if we set up a system for them. So although I couldn't do that because I'm not a Thai citizen, don't have the money to do that, stuff like that, I was able to lend those ideas to different universities, traveling around Chiang Mai, Pattaya, Phuket, Isan, small area in Isan. And so now, man, I have a life in Thailand that I've built because I walk just about everywhere. So when I first got there, I didn't speak much Thai at all, as you could probably imagine. But my students, some of them were absolutely great. Like, one or two would be great at English, and then the rest, no English at all. And while people, like, because there's, what it is a TEFL course. So you'd need a bachelor's degree in any field. And then you need a certificate that says you can teach a foreign language in a country where English isn't the main language. And so I was there and they struggle, man, but we're so used to performing in front of people. Yeah. And I was a teacher before I left the US that it was nothing to me. Like, if I need to go up there and be Mr. Bean, I had no problem.
What are you teaching over in Thailand?
I'm teaching English and science.
English and science, okay.
Yeah, and I go a little bit slower with my science because I try to stick with what the Thai science teacher is doing, but I try to learn what they're doing in Thai, and then I teach it in English. That way they can kind of correlate the ideas, but sometimes I can't go quite as quick because they're teaching in a native language and I'm teaching in a secondary language. But then I coach the basketball team, helped start the basketball team there. But it was really, really cool, man, because that Thai school, like, they were just so happy that you try speaking Thai. Yeah. So I made the deal, like, with my students, like, I'll try teaching you English. You guys help me with Thai. And it really helped a lot of them, I think, because I would mess up Thai all the time. And even if I knew how to say something right, I'd purposely mess it up just so they could feel comfortable messing up. Because in Thailand, image and reputation is a big deal. Like, you don't want to bring shame to your family or yourself, but I would think people need to know it's okay to fail. And I'm only going to quote fail because you're not failing. Yeah. You're just haven't succeeded yet. Right. So, like, you found, like, listen, I found 1,000 ways not to do it. Okay. And until I find the way to do it, that's when you'll succeed. So.
Well, brother, Definitely proud of you, man.
It's
Proud
been-
of what you're doing, man.
How was it? Sorry, Danny, because I have a feeling you're about to be like, "Hey, we're done."
I was gonna say, this
You-
motherfucker-
you-
are we doing an encore?
There's a bit of a story that I wanted to kind of figure out, and is when you started wrestling in Thailand. Because
Yeah.
I saw that you're working over there. So how was it finding a location and then going like, "Oh, cool, yeah, let's get you in."
I had actually been in contact with them before I ever left the U.S.
Okay.
Because I knew with my health, I wasn't so sure genuinely how long I was going to live. So shamefully, I did lie about my health. That way I could at least have one match in Thailand. But as my health started to feel better, like I kept going and going and going. Man, Pumi is the owner of Set Up Thailand Pro Wrestling, and just unbelievably sweet guy. I live in his hometown, Chiang Mai, which is about 9 hours north drive, but it's like an hour flight and $30 to get there. But it's been unreal because I think my first show, Tajiri was on it. And if there's anything I learned about Tajiri is that motherfucker can drink.
That's the word.
But yeah, other than that, man, I've been able to meet so many wonderful people, the Thai wrestlers. As a matter of fact, I do want to state this because I have retired from wrestling now. My back has become to a point where
okay.
I might have a couple matches here and there, but the last match I had, it was with Shavam and JJ, Jonathan. What is it, like Jonathan Johnson? Yes. Two of these guys are like, they're American made, like they're ready to be in here. They're both speak English beautifully. They're both extremely humble and they're just so good at what they do. I was kind of a late addition to their match. And because I was a late addition, they had put stuff together. I mean, you know how that goes. You arrive late, like they put stuff together, like, cool, just let me know where I can fit in. And my body had been feeling good. So I put in certain things, not to make me look good, but like to help them and put it together and stuff like that.
Breaker on the apron.
Not a,
And that was your back.
it wasn't anything that bad. But I went to go push off. I was going to throw a calf kick at JJ, and I go to push off, and like the back of my nerve just stopped, and I fell. And when I fell, I just threw my left fist. I just punched him in the dick. He's like, he just goes, "What?" And I'm like, "I'm so sorry," but like I'm trying to get up. It was like I was in so much pain, and he's like trying to get me up. And he's like, "Get the fuck up!" I was like, "I can't." Like I've been very quiet about how bad my health is, so he handled it very well because it almost looked like this, "You fat piece of shit, what are you doing?"
Yeah.
But when we got back, man, I just apologized dearly. And here's something about Thai people, like I said, they don't do sarcasm really, because your word is your bond. Like if you tell someone something, they mean it.
Yeah.
So often, like if they're not looking you in the eye, they know like they don't want to hurt your feelings. And I asked JJ. Because I was like, he's like, "Bro," he's like, you were calling stuff and you weren't even there. And I was like, "For real?" And like, it almost sounded like, I was like, "No, I wasn't." But I was like, "No, for real?" And he's like, "Yeah, man." But he was looking away. I was like, "JJ, look me in my eye." I was like, "For real? It was that bad?" He goes, "Yeah, man, it's that bad." I was like, "Fuck." So I just didn't want to be in the ring anymore, to know that like, I didn't care about myself. Like I could be hurting other people,
Yeah.
especially like Shavam and JJ, who I think so highly of. And like, I could have put them in risk. Like those are guys who should be big in America, Japan. And to know that like, because of my selfishness or maybe even my ego, I thought I could make it through in just one little thing. So unless I've been bumping around and unless I can do a match and practice and shit and I'm confident, I think it's best I stay out of the ring. To that point. July 19th. Here's the thing though. As of right now, I'm not going to wrestle, but I am putting a wrestling show together because I met a wonderful person by the name of Kat Abugazela. Have you guys looked into Kat Abugazela at all? Feel free to look up Kat Abugazela on one of your phones while I tell the story. Because she just had a show at the Laugh Factory. She's running for Congress in District 9. She's hilarious, unbelievable girl. I had no idea who she was. She was apparently a social media gal. I don't know.
C-A-T.
K-A-T-A-B-U-G-H-A.
I already found her.
Z, Batman symbol.
J-E-double-T. J-E-double-F.
We call her Abby Gazebo because I'm not. But she, I had met her at AEW without knowing who she was. I was talking to her and her partner. Her partner was sitting next to me, and this was rather recently, like when we came back. They were in Chicago. And this girl just started asking me about Thailand. And what was so cool was, as I started to tell her, her partner like sat back, and then she like leaned forward. She was so fascinated. And I would start talking about like... What the fuck was that? Okay.
Actually hit Pornhub, man.
Dude,
It was Thai porn.
dude, in Thailand, Pornhub is blocked, right? But police still have like, it'll say like police officer in the Pornhub font on their vests, and it's just the funniest fucking thing because they have no idea what the reference is.
The funniest thing about this whole idea of Mikey walking through Thailand is the fact that in his head there's all this comedy happening, but he can't share it with everyone.
Honestly, you have no idea how many. Because I mean, I was journaling the entire time I was in. You have no idea how many I've written so many jokes and scripts and stuff. Like to even like because my kids have a media department. Like to even like they want to try and do acting and stuff like that. Oh, that was a story I wanted to tell you. Because I showed my kids some of your stuff, and I was like, "You guys got to pay." And I have you in my phone. You'll see. I have you in my phone. I was like, "You guys have to watch this guy. He's amazing." It's like he's this real dorky white guy. His name's a Ruthless Dan. He's a fucking dork, but he's an awesome actor. And so they were watching the stuff. They're like, "We didn't see the white guy." I was like,
That's how good he is.
I was like, "Shit, I thought he was in this one." So then we would start talking about it, and we talked about your performance, I was like, That's Danny. I was like, "That's the Ruthless Ramon." They're like, "He's awesome." I was like, "Yeah, dude, he's fucking great."
That's awesome.
I love watching.
Thanks for
seeing your
showing him,
stuff.
man. Thank you.
But I would love to come back on one of these days, talk with whether it be CJ, Joey, Ortiz, Jazz. There's so many stories over 20 years of wrestling and being an.
Well, next time you make it back from Thailand.
So hold on. Are you actually wrestling on the 19th, or were you just ribbing us?
As of right now, no, I'm not. But I have put together.
Oh yeah, tell us the show. Yeah, what's the show?
I'm so sorry, I forgot about that. I'm waiting.
Pornhub got in the way.
Yeah.
I'm waiting. It always
It
does.
usually does, yeah.
It always does. I'm trying to. Joey Britton's working on a building right now, but I had talked to Kat. I didn't even know her name, who she was, until after I had left. My buddy told me who she was, but she was just so genuine. She was absolute sweetheart. I was here for Thai Fest in June, which is next weekend. So I was here to do that, and then I was going to go back to Thailand. Excuse me. But we started looking at like when AEW is in town and stuff like that, seeing like what we can work out there. And so then we landed on the 19th, just because that date kind of worked out for everyone. And I contacted Justin right away. That way he knew like, hey, I was not putting together like this show and I did not pick this date out of spite. But he was like, never. I would have never even thought about that. But his show's actually early on, which is
from
lovely.
2 to 4.
Because then I'm gonna try to make sure I swing by there. Like,
I'm using the exact same roster.
right. I'm essentially just gonna change the turnbuckle pads. No, so I have not a definitive building because it's against a few. But do you know where District 9 is in Illinois? It's like Des Plaines, Morton Grove.
Okay.
So if you guys have connections, I would love that. But I do have names confirmed. But it'll be running as threat level wrestling, but in promotion of Kat Abugazela's bid towards Congress.
Okay.
Just because I want to make sure people know that like she's not running the show. So if there's something you dislike on the show, something that was distasteful, something like that, by no means
Has nothing to do with her.
We don't need to be attacking people. Like you can come straight after me and my mom.
Yeah.
Go after my mom first. You ain't gonna make it to me. But no, I'm like I'll have those conversations with her. That way we make sure everything on the. But I believe Sue Young, Heian, Marche, Yabo Crossing.
You're doing double duty that day, huh?
I might have reached out to people in this room before, and they absolutely sandbagged me. They said, "Mikey, I've seen you work. I can't do it again."
You reached out to your mom for that?
On that note, on that note, Sawadee krap, kom rak pet thai na, and Thank you guys very much
This
for
guy
having me.
rolling his R's, man. I'm telling you.
I had to tell my Thai people, hi, I love you. I love Thailand.
Okay.
For all we know, this has been bullshit.
Right. Hey, I do talk a lot of shit. That way people never know what's true. I talk a lot of shit. All right, boys.
But no, brother. Thank you, man. That was fucking. It was fun seeing you, man. It really was. Great talking to you. Great. Before we head up out of here, any last things you want to say?
Not particularly. I would say, if anything, because Kanye, I think, is evidence. Make sure you have a loving relationship with a strong, powerful mom or a female individual in your life who can get you through those hard times. Because I think people look at Kanye like he's a maniac, but it's like his grandma passed, he had his breakdown. His mom passed, he had a breakdown. Kim left, he had a breakdown. And that's a man who has a lot of money and a platform. So, I mean, he's just a huge example. And then you have me, who's an example who nobody knows. And without a strong woman like my mom, strong people like Serena, Jenny, Christina Von Erie, Yvonne, Christy, Julia, Sarai Knight. If I didn't have strong women in my life to help me navigate my manic episodes, I wouldn't be sitting here in front of you. And to that point, I wouldn't be sitting here in front of you guys because I would be dead if it weren't for strangers and their empathy. So know that you never know what's going on with someone. Whether you're in the car, you feel protected. You can just yell insults at people. Like, everyone is just trying to get somewhere safe to see their loved ones. We don't need to make it any worse for anyone. So please be kind to each other. Kapo makrap.
Couple more crop. Yep. Hey, that's good. Ah, see?
Do you even know what you said?
Nope.
You said thank you very much.
All right.
Good job, Danny.
See? Did that.
This fucking jabroni. All right. Thank you guys very much.
Yes, man. Big special thanks to Mikey for coming and hanging out with us
Cheers.
today, man. Big special thanks to our sponsors, the Law Officer Christopher Hoff, Taco Villa, and Wrestling Tees. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share the Salud Cabrones podcast on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and YouTube. And before we sign off, we want to give a big toast. Yesterday, we just found out one of our wrestling brothers, Mad Dog Ivan Manson, passed away. We found out yesterday at the show. Our condolences to his friends and family.
Cheers, Ivan.
So this would be a big special toast to Mikey, and a special toast to the R.I.P. Ivan Manson in memory of him. So, gentlemen, we just hold up our beverages and we sign off with saying "Salud, cabrones." So, Mikey, when you're ready, 1, 2, 3.
Salud,
cabrones. We out.
Can I take my butt plug out or no?